So yesterday I was trying to explain the whole GameStop situation to my sister. I guess first thing I should say is I'm not a financial advisor. Don't take anything I'm going to say here about as financial advice. I am not even an investment broker, so this is all based on my basic simplistic understanding, and I'm trying to keep things as simple as possible. Anyways, on the securities exchange, when you buy a security, you're not actually buying stock of anything. What you're buying is a guarantee of sale. So if you buy a security at $80, you're buying a guarantee to basically you're buying a promise that you're going to buy this stock at $80. And if over time the value of that stock increases to 120, what you'll then do is you'll cash out that guarantee. You'll pay for your $80 for it, and then if you want, you can instantly sell it off on the market, sell the actual stock for 120, and you just made a $40 profit because you bought in that guarantee at 80. That's what we call going long. Now, shorting is similar, but it's sort of actually the opposite. Instead of uh, basically buying instead of a guarantee to buy, what you're actually sort of doing is a guarantee to sell. So if you buy the guarantee to sell at 80 and the value of it drops to 40, someone has already guaranteed to buy it at 80. So now when you cash out, you can buy at 40, immediately sell them to 80, and then again, you made $40 by betting against the stock instead of betting for it. It's it's a little bit more complicated than that, but again, I'm trying to keep it simple. And I was trying to explain it. It's kind of hard to keep it simple, but while I was explaining to my sister, I came to the epiphany of Springtime for Hitler. Now, if you've never seen the 1967 film from Mel Brooks called The Producers, uh, Springtime for Hitler is the play within the movie. Um, the movie is about two producers who are trying to sell off a Broadway play. There was a early 2000s remake of it. The remake is a musical, just as good as the original. They're both excellent movies, but the remake is a musical, and because it's a musical, it's a bit harder to follow. So I do recommend watching the original because it's a bit easier to follow, and it's an excellent movie. If you've never seen it before, it's starring Gene Wilder and Zero Mostel as the producers. It's Gene Wilder's first movie, I think, so his acting talent just isn't there. He does an absolutely awful job, and you can tell Zero Mostel acts circles around Gene Wilder in that movie. But excellent movie. You should definitely watch it. But in that, I watched it with my father who was a CPA. And so since he's a CPA, watching the movie had to come with an economics lesson. In the middle of the movie, he has to pause and explain exactly what's going on because, again, shorting is something a bit more complicated. So when you're setting up a production of any business, not just Broadway, but we're going to use Broadway because that's what the movie did, you need investors. I mean, you could invest completely on your own, but nobody does that because you're putting your own money at risk when you do that. The best way to spend money is to spend someone else's money. So let's say you're going to try to set up a Broadway play and you're going to sell off 80% of the play. So an outside investor is going to eat 80% of the costs of the production. And the advantage of that is they get 80% of the profits of the production. That's an advantage. Now, the advantage for you is if the business fails, you only lose 20% of the production instead of the full 100%. And you've basically deferred a lot of the risk on the investor. But that's why the investor gets the majority of the profit because they also get the majority of the risk. Ideally, everyone wants it to be successful. There are some people who will actually invest. I'm sorry. Some people who will actually sell off more than 80% of the cost. They'll sell off 90%, 95%. Some people will even sell off 100% of the production. That's mostly because they don't care about profit. They're interested more in the art. And a lot of people in theater are like that. Um, so they'll sell off 100% of the production. If the production does successful, they don't make any profits. But if the production fails, it costs them nothing. Now, if you go into this, most people will go into a business hoping to be successful. But if you go into the business expecting it to fail, then what if you sold more than 100% of the costs? Because if the business fails, all these investors don't expect a return on their investment because the business failed, because the play failed. And so if you can sell off, let's say 140% of the business, and then the business fails, those investors, now you're not going to sell off 140% of the business to a single investor. So what you'll do is you'll sell off 50% to one investor, 50% to another investor, 40% to another investor. You'll spread it along different investors who don't know each other and don't know that you've sold off more than this business is worth. Now, this is fraud, which is why you go to jail if you actually do something like this. Now, if you know it's going to fail, it doesn't hurt the investors because they don't know that they just got screwed and they didn't lose anything because there was no profits going to them anyways. But if the business is suddenly successful, someone has to pay off those investors, and you don't have more than 100% of the profits. So you have to eat that other 40% and go to jail because you committed fraud, declare bankruptcy, sell off all your assets. Somebody's got to go to somebody's going to jail. So in the movie, they actually sell off, I think, 27,000% of the production because they're specifically looking for a play that they know is going to fail. And they find the play Springtime for Hitler. But through some sort of quirks, the play becomes successful. And now they're basically don't know what to do because they have committed fraud and all the investors now want their returns. Now, that's basically what happened with the GameStop stock. Now, it's not exactly the same because, like I said, securities are a bit different than actual product. But I'm trying to relate it here, and I'm just using it as an example. So what these short sellers did in these hedge funds is they knew GameStop is a shit business. Everyone hates GameStop. Gamers hate GameStop. Malls are dying because of the lockdowns. GameStop is dying because of the lockdowns. Digital distribution is killing GameStop. Amazon is killing GameStop. Even GameFly is killing GameStop. By the way, I do recommend GameFly if you're going to buy used games. GameFly is excellent. So GameStop is a pretty sure bet to be a failing business. I don't think there's anything Microsoft can do to save GameStop with their investment. So GameStop is going to die. And of course, investors know this. So what they'll start doing is they'll start shorting GameStop, betting against the business being successful. Why anyone would go long on GameStop? You wouldn't. But what someone noticed on Reddit is that these companies have oversold the shorts into GameStop. They actually oversold it by 140%, which is why I used that number. And so now all these people, they're not worried too much about losing their investment through overselling because they would rather lose $100 if they can see billionaires lose $100 billion. I mean, who's got the bigger loss there? So what they did is they started artificially pumping up the GameStop stock. And because of that, now all these hedge funds who have shorted and oversold the business are now on the hook for the profits. And it's got to come from somewhere. Eventually, I think that if natural forces didn't kill GameStop, this will kill GameStop. But before, it's going to kill the hedge funds first. And of course, the elites live by a different rule. So they're probably, one person is probably going to go to jail who's going to fall on their sword. But there's not going to be a lot of prosecution here because, rules for me, but not rules for thee. So that's basically, I think, the easiest way to explain what happened. It's what happened in the movie Producers. Again, it's a masterpiece from Mel Brooks. I recommend you watching it if you've never seen it. If you have seen it, watch it again. Anyways, I don't know how long it's going to be for my next video because I have to rebuild my stream computer. That's why I stopped streaming Hitman 3. The computer kept crashing. So if you're subscribed to any of my other channels and you're wondering what happened to the Hitman streams, that's what happened. It'll be back soon. Who knows when. But follow, subscribe, whatever you do. Share the video. That really does help. This is a new channel, so not a lot of subscribers. Please share. Anyways, peace out, guys. See you next time.